Yeah, Andrew Tate is basically
trying to
correct everything, and just to say no, it's okay to be a man,
and this is what it should be.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be a man. Like that's his main message. Us saying that we like Andrew Tate and the message that he pushes doesn't mean that we agree with everything that he says. Doesn't mean that at all. We just like the message that he puts
somebody say that, you know, like of course he's a human being. He has
you can't agree with everything that he says.
You can't agree with everything,
but we like the overall message that he puts out.
Andrew. Here. When I was in jail, I focused on doing push-ups and reading the Quran. And when I am home, I will focus on doing push-ups and reading the Quran.
MashaAllah! Long live the top G! Top G!
Top G. That's top G.
People are so excited about him coming out. Like, it's not even funny. And it's like the emotions are coming from deep within. It's like, hectic.
So what are your thoughts on Andrew Tate? What are your thoughts on him? What do you think about him and what he stands for and the message that he's putting out there?
I think it's a positive sort of message. Like, even though like some of the ways or some of the things that he says may be like, oh, you know, outlandish, but like it does, like like his message comes from a good place because he wants to preserve masculinity, and he wants even upcoming men to understand, like, you know, what was masculinity and what it's always been, you understand, and not only rely on what it's become. And really a lot of what it's become has a huge touch of femininity within it.
In the past few couple of years, masculinity has been attacked.
Yeah.
In mainstream media, masculinity is just a bad thing. So now what we're seeing most of our male figures, you see them in a more feminine light. Like you see them with colored hair, you see them wearing dresses, or you either see them
crop tops, crop tops, painted nails, like, and these are not openly like gay men or like, you know what I'm saying, or like transgender men or things like that.
So they've been pushing that whole agenda to emasculate men for quite some time, and men have been getting fed up with that. So the whole red pill community, or whole red pill space, stems from that frustration that men are being emasculated.
But don't you think that comes from the fact that men have actually like shown acts of toxicity in what the world is trying to achieve? Like, for instance, like the world is trying to accept, you know, like homosexuality and things like that, transgender males and things like that. And we know that men have a really toxic relationship with that, like with that situation. So it's like the world is trying to be accepting of that, but then men are like, if you're a man, you should be like this, you should be like that.
So the main issue with all of this is that men are very logical and very straightforward thinking.
Yeah.
We're logical. Like, if 1 + 1 = 2, 1 + 1 = 2.
Maybe
you can't just come and say 1 + 1 = 3. Yeah. That's what's currently happening in the world right now. People are making up their own things. People are doing their own things. People are becoming who they want to be. All that stuff like that. But
that's the toxic traits.
No, it's not toxic. It's what has grown humanity.
Yeah.
That rational thinking to science and all those things. Yeah. That's what has grown humanity. Now you want to throw that out the window because we're all so comfortable now. There's no wars and all that stuff like that. So I get why the agenda is being pushed to emasculate men. You are right that the LGBTQ community is probably part of that agenda to emasculate men because they want to get accepted, but they won't get accepted by traditional
masculine men.
Well, in this day and age, we are learning to accept certain things. Like Andrew Tate himself says that he doesn't have a problem with transgenders or gay people, whatever. You can be whoever you want to be.
And I have no problem.
Do you have a dislike of transgender people?
I don't know any transgender people.
But do you have a dislike of what they stand for, what they are?
No. Why would I?
I don't know.
That's not my issue. That's not my issue.
Do you support transgender people?
I support individual liberty. I'm a libertarian.
Yeah, so you support transgender people?
Sure. Sure. Why not?
Exactly, yeah.
So, but my point is, as a whole, you're saying that I'm saying I don't want to see men in dresses. I'm saying no.
Do you support gay people?
Sure.
Just don't force your messages onto me. That's all. That's all we saying as well as men. Like, cool, you can be gay, you can be transgender.
But then that doesn't change the fact that you will still be fathers that are difficult, like for children that want to take that, or not that want to, but that happen to take that route.
Well, as a traditional masculine man will raise their child in a traditional way. Up until the child becomes old enough to make their own decisions, they have to follow the rules of the house, right? And that's how it should be.
So do you see why the masculine man is difficult in the world that is trying to be built?
Yes, that's why I'm understanding why they're trying to emasculate people and trying to kill masculinity, because they're trying to push this gender fluidity and LGBTQ agenda and all that stuff like that.
Things don't have to be binary. Like the nuclear family is not the only type of family.
They've also been trying to kill that for a while. Because now in the mainstream media, you don't see the nuclear family that much anymore. You always see it's always like a gay family or a lesbian family.
I'll be honest with you, as much as I don't have issues with any type of family, but I feel like it's also kind of wrong in the sense where we are suppressing the nuclear family a little more and more and more. Like, I get it when we try to put a point across and to make something a little bit more acceptable in society. Don't kill the other one completely. And I feel like the nuclear family is being kind of killed.
That's what always happens. Like, in this day and age, whenever you're trying to push something, you have to bring down whatever.
Yeah, and
with femininity, you see they push femininity, they bring down masculinity.
Yeah.
LGBTQ, they push that message and they bring down straight people or whatever. So that's just how it is, right? But what I'm saying is, this whole red pill community is based off the frustration of a lot of men feeling like they are being suppressed or oppressed by mainstream media and being emasculated, and they just want to be accepted as traditional masculine men without being vilified. So Andrew Tate is literally the embodiment of that. That's why he's so famous and he's so popular all over the world.
What did you say?
I said the reason I am so popular and I'm so famous is that there's a large contingent of men who don't want to wear makeup, who still want to make money, go to the gym, be strong, drive a fast car, be traditionally masculine, and don't want to be shamed for that, and they don't want to be called toxic for that. That is the reason I'm so massively famous. That is what I said.
What do you think?
A lot of men look to him as like a savior, or as like
oh my
he's
goodness,
the
we were dying out, and here's our Messiah.
Because the mainstream media, you'd see a whole lot of crazy stuff. Women talking crazy, saying things like, I saw this one episode in the Real, well, a clip of it, where women were just openly talking about, if he cheats on me, I'll cut his dick off, or I'll cut his private parts off, some stuff like that.
This woman, we're about to go there because this woman allegedly did. According to the Orange County DA's office, Catherine Q. Becker is accused of cutting off her husband's penis with a knife, taking his penis and throwing it into the garbage disposal.
I do think it's quite fabulous. I mean, can you just imagine that thing whizzing around the disposal? It's like hysterical. But however, I think I would have just, depending on why she cut it off. I mean, it does depend on the reasons why.
Does it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, standards. Practice it.
What would be an acceptable reason?
Oh, I'll think of one. But I would have just thrown it in the dog's bowl.
Why does the dog have to suffer?
Chewing on an old bone.
But if a man was to say something like that, obviously you'll be vilified, you'll be seen as toxic or whatever. But obviously there's this double standard that feminine or femininity cannot be toxic. But a lot of feminists are actually toxic people.
Yeah.
They are really bad people. Like, they hate men. For some reason, feminists hate men.
That's true. And I think that's the wrong message to send with the whole femininity thing. Especially like if I have a daughter and raise a daughter, I wouldn't want to raise her to hate men and what men are about, if you get what I mean. Like, obviously there's certain things now that have sort of started to be grouped as part of like the man identity, and obviously unfortunately because they have been happening, like being, you know, violent and rapists and murders and things like that, but like that's not what men are about, right? That's what
they push.
So that's it's all of these things that have, you know, now been a part of the whole man packaging. And then it's like, that's why when you think man, you're like, oh, it's a bad thing, or like, ooh, men are evil. And the truth is that that's not the case. It's like individuals that are like that, and there are really toxic women as well, like really bad women out there that really do really bad things.
Feminism right now has some really bad PR. Feminists are not good.
I think it took a really crazy turn because also for an agenda.
There's this one clip I saw where this feminist was saying that she's happy that boys are now afraid to talk to girls, or boys are now afraid to date women and all that kind of stuff. Some crazy shit like that.
Really help us when it comes to boys growing up. And that is one of my worries, that for teenage boys now, they are so terrified of the consequences of putting a foot out of line. It's hard enough being a young teenager, working out how things are, working out how to do dating and all of that, without the terror that if you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, you may find that your whole life is destroyed.
And
there is far too much. Well,
I like that.
As a mother of a teenage boy, I don't like that terror.
That's the most thing I've ever heard.
That is awful.
I think that men should be frightened
I think
to
you'd
touch
feel
women in a way
differently
that
if you
they're
were
not comfortable with.
But we're talking about
but we're not talking about.
We're talking about
It's an
young
interesting thing that you see. I would say that attitude actually is part of the problem too. That's to me toxic femininity.
And then as men, we see that this is wrong where all of this is going. So Andrew Tate is basically trying to correct everything and just to say, no, it's okay to be a man,
and this is what it should be.
It's okay. It's okay to be a man. Like that's his main message. It's okay to be a man. It's okay to wanna improve yourself. It's okay to want to go to the gym. It's okay to want to have cars and all that stuff like that. It's okay to be a man. So a lot of boys all over the world resonate with his message. That's why he is top G. He's top G for that. He puts out that message that a lot of boys have been wanting to hear.
And to be honest, like, can you imagine, like, these boys were probably like trapped in like this, you know, very weird space, you know, because they're like, shit, everything I am is wrong. Like,
you know what's funny?
Everything.
You know what's funny now that you put it like that. So how the LGBTQ community have been feeling. They are now putting that feeling onto
it.
Straight
That's
men.
really bad.
They've literally put that feeling onto straight men.
I think it's crazy how we human beings actually do that quite a lot. Like, you want somebody else to feel this feeling you've been feeling.
You become what you hate.
Yeah, you're the perpetrator.
You become what you hate eventually. So it just shows that if you have the power, you eventually become what you hate.
And I think this also goes with women as well. I feel like, just because we feel like we've been suppressed by men all the time, now we want to make them feel
now you're suppressing men.
We're suppressing men. We don't want them to have a voice. We don't want them. This is actually crazy. Like, I never thought of it like that. And now I think we are in a position to be able to understand, or should be able to understand, how it feels. I mean, we women for the longest of times did feel like, being a woman kind of didn't feel nice because, society was not accepting of what a woman is and all of that. And we wanted to be out there. We wanted, to be accepted and like, wow, the wheel turns like this,
Yeah, so I'm actually quite happy and excited that Top G is free. He's been in prison since like December. They're doing some investigations in terms of like his human trafficking and all that. But the whole problem with this is that they kept him locked up for so long, and they haven't found anything concrete enough to charge him. So now they have to release him, and that makes it even worse because now people will see that no, they actually detained him just to keep him quiet, just to shut him up. Basically, what he was saying.
And that's why I feel like he's even bigger now. Like he's bigger now.
Yeah, he'll probably come out.
We'll see how big he is.
You'll see him. You'll see him everywhere. You'll see him on all the podcasts. You'll see him on all these YouTube stuff.
And people will want to hear him more. Like you see, like a lot of people are starting to speak in his defense that seemed a little, shaky before. Like now, all of a sudden, they talk in his defense. For me, like as somebody who is obviously raising a son, like it's important for me for my son to have that option of knowing, like, hey, boys play with cars, boys
are rough.
Boys are rough.
Boys will be boys.
Yes.
What happened to that? Boys will be boys.
Like it's okay. Or like,
Can't say that anymore.
Be strong. Like those things, I like that. I really, really like that. And I want that for my son. And I'm not going to force it on him if he's going to be something else. Or like, I'm not going to force it on him. I'm going to allow him to be however he wants to be. But like, I like that the option of understanding and knowing and being exposed to masculinity and masculine men and it's a great thing. I feel like it's a great thing for me, and I don't want him to grow up only understanding the
feminine side
of things. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's like I'm robbing him of an identity.
It will be interesting to see the next few weeks and months.
Yeah.
Well, he's still on house arrest, so you probably won't be able to be traveling and doing all that. But he'll probably be having a lot of interviews with a lot of different people.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what he says about his whole experience in jail and maybe what he's learned and the whole system.
What would you say Andrew Tate personally does for you? Like
for me as a boy, I always as a boy growing up, what I'm used to as masculinity, what masculinity was when I was growing up, was your typical action hero, big buff man, guns blazing, being strong, just busting in rooms and doing what you gotta do and leaving, just your typical action hero. That's what I'm used to as masculinity.
Yeah.
And then over the course of after 2010 upwards, masculinity changed, it became more feminine and boys just started wearing skirts, funky hairstyles, all these things, So I couldn't relate to all of that. That's why I even stopped listening to hip hop, because now a lot of rappers have become that as well. A lot of rappers have become, they're wearing nail polish and all these things.
Do you think that is very damaging to men?
To boys growing up is damaging, because growing up, that will be like your perception of what masculinity is. But that's not what masculinity really is. And then when you come across what it really is.
In fact, masculinity is totally against all of that.
I wouldn't say against it, but the whole point of masculinity is you must portray yourself as strong.
Yeah.
And you
can. And then there's the the man banter that comes with it, like you being a sissy or whatever that. Yeah. And it's like, even though I get it, those kind of talks are probably harmful to people that don't want to be associated with masculinity.
It's necessary.
But it's
necessary. It is necessary. Like all the stuff that we go through as boys growing up, getting bullied, fighting, all that stuff. It's all necessary. It prepares you for the world. It prepares you to be a man. As a man, you need to know that you need to stand up for yourself when you need to stand up for yourself. You need to fight back when you need to fight back. You need to be able to talk back when you need to talk back. You just need to be, like they say, a man must have a backbone. You need to have a backbone. But if you remove all of that, then obviously you'll get pushed over in life. You'll just be somebody who gets walked all over, and then you won't have a backbone. And obviously that will be detrimental to you, because women do not like men who do not have backbones. As much as they pushing this agenda to say that, we want our men soft and vulnerable and all that stuff. That's not true. That is not true at all.
I'll personally be honest. I'm not into. I don't want a man like that. I still want a man that is of like what I grew up understanding men to be. That's me personally. Maybe it's because I am programmed, whatever you may call it.
Just grew up like that.
Yes, maybe I'm programmed, and that's why I only understand that type of man. And that is why maybe I gravitate towards that. But I like that. I want that. I don't want my man to embody feminine, habits
and that's not good.
And characteristics.
The worst thing that can happen to you as a man, life is tough.
Yeah.
Like, life is just tough. You gotta work for everything you get. Everything that you get in life, you have to work for it. And that can become very overwhelming very quickly, especially when things are not going right. That's why the suicide rate for men is very high. Because when things do not go right, everything falls apart. All your relationships fall apart. Women don't want to talk to you. Women don't see you as a man. People at home don't see you as a man.
But don't you think?
All those things.
But don't you think because men are not able to handle that because of what they've built around themselves?
No, men are not able to handle that because they haven't been fortified. They haven't been given the strength growing up to handle that pressure. That pressure will always be there, whether you like it or not. It'll always be there. No, in life as a man, you know that nothing will be given to you. You always have to go and work for what you have. So as much as women think we can change this whole thing and we can give men all these things, no. Y'all can be given things. That's fine. But as a man, you know that nothing will be given to you. So you have to work for it. And then now when things get tough, you need to be tough. Otherwise, you will decide to just self-delete, and life will carry on like that. And now we're seeing a very high increase in male suicide rates because of that. Because men are not strong enough to handle those pressures anymore.
And there's no way to look.
There's no person to look for.
It's like, what do I do in a situation like that? That's really true. There's no representation. There's no so this is what you do when things go like this.
So Andrew Tate is a very important figure, and it shows. You can see that at some point last year, he was the most Googled man in the world. He was the most famous man in the world. He just blew up just like this. Just because he pushes this message that no, it's okay to be a man. And it shows that that's how important he is to men. So
I like that for men, to be honest. I'm loving that for men. I'm happy for men about this. Honestly, I think I'd be so evil if I was against Andrew Tate. I think I'd be bad.
Us saying that we like Andrew Tate and the message that he pushes doesn't mean that we agree with everything that he says. Doesn't mean that at all. We just like the message that
somebody say that, of course he's a human being. He has
you can't agree with everything that he says.
You can't agree with everything,
but we like the overall message that he puts out there. It's good
some things maybe can be a little bit on the not so sure about that side.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the next couple of months with Andrew Tate. It's good that he's out. Top G back.
I don't know, but let us know what you think, guys. And what do you think of Andrew Tate's message as a whole? Do you think it's positive in society, or you perhaps one of the people that are against his message and anything that he stands for?
Don't forget to like, subscribe,
and keep watching. Bye.
We'll check you guys in the next one.